We're going to build the best football team in the SEC Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory's got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Tori.
Same corner, same time. That boys ready to do this? We got a special guest today, man. How y'all feeling?
Feeling good. Had a good weekend. Lightning are up 3-0, Nick. About to take care of the South Florida hockey team that came out of nowhere this year, ready to put them back in their cages for the rest of the offseason. And Lightning are right now a wagon on track to win a third Stanley Cup in a row.
I seen them boys fishing.
Apparently, there's some rumors out that they're out the strip clubs. So the game was on Sunday at 1:30. Apparently, they're out the strip clubs here in Tampa until about 3 in. So
Nice. I'm blaming you. You're gonna lose. You gotta lose with good vibes and good with good ambiance and hey.
World-class city for strip clubs, that's for sure.
The Tampa strip clubs don't even serve alcohol.
Word?
That's
the big ones do not because they're the full nude variety.
Can't be full. You can't be full nude and serve alcohol in the same building, Corey. It's too righteous for Tampa.
So South Florida lost a hockey game, but they won the strip club match.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I just had to correct Dan when he said it's an elite city, elite town for strip clubs.
I just said it's an elite town. Period. It is.
You gotta bring your own Capri Sun. Got to bring your own Capri Sun when you go to Mons Venus.
Capri Sun. That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, it's So but good weekend overall, boys. What did I do? Had the Lightning game yesterday. That was an elite day. Played a golf round in Orlando Saturday morning. That's why I texted you, Corey, to see what you were up to if you were in town. But otherwise, a very relaxing weekend. Otherwise, which is what I need because we got a big weekend ahead of us.
You got a big weekend here. What you got? Oh, you got Memorial Day coming up. You ready?
Big Memorial Day.
Bringing out Gator Day.
We've got Sunset Music Festival in town.
Ooh.
We've got some boat days ahead, so it's going to be an
are you whipping the boat out there?
Not for Sunset. No, Sunset Music Festival is at Raymond James Stadium, so where the Bucks play. It's a big music festival that they have here every weekend, or every weekend, every Memorial Day weekend. But we'll be doing some boating on Saturday Sunday and Monday. So,
okay, nice. Captain Dan.
Memorial Day weekend, man. It's already on us, man. This year's flying by. How was your weekend, Nick? You still in the drought, baby. I know it's rough over there, man. How you maintain it? You seen your therapist?
Lauren came home. I got a surprise visit. I got a surprise
appointment or two to take care of. I got you.
She heard the show.
She might listen to the show. She came home for a weekend. She was here for like 24 hours. Other than that, just had baseball. Watching America's team with Dan, Miami Heat, looking to take a commanding 3-1 series lead.
I can see it.
Commanding 3-1 lead tonight. So that's it. Baseball's winding down, though. We finished the regular season and got a Hoover SEC tournament this week, but I'm about to get my small sliver of off season between baseball and football camp.
Get you a little break there, huh?
Yeah, and a few weeks ago, that looked like that break would be a little bit longer than the way it's looking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the boys are hot.
The boys are hot.
We need them to get hot, man. We need you to jinx them, man.
I'm staying away.
So, how was your weekend?
It was cool, man. A lot of relaxation. One of the few weekends we don't have anything going at the Cushall, so I took advantage, man. Just vibe. Came home Saturday. Then we were trying to link. I had to do some things up in Orlando during the week, but I actually came home on Saturday, so my week was a little reversed. But I just a whole lot of chilling, man. End up touring my own city because I don't hang out here. The last 2 years, I don't think I've really been out in my city. Just been in Orlando and just moving around doing a lot of business. So, and plus the pandemic shut down like a whole year. So it's been a while. A lot of new restaurants and and the city just looked different. They redid the sidewalks downtown, the streets, everything's just different. So I just toured my city, bro. Hung out Saturday, and then shout out to my man Sandy. He hit me up Sunday. I've been trying to get Janoris Jenkins to the Cushhouse or on one of these platforms to do an interview. He heard the Leon Orr interview that we did on Roll Up. Hit up his guy Sandy, and Sandy hit me. I was like, "Hey man, Jinx in town. Want to talk?" So I went to go holler at Janoris Jenkins over in Wellington, man. That was dope. We got him coming into the Cushhouse next week, June 1st. If y'all in Orlando or any nearby city, you can grab a ticket to come hang out. If not, in about a month or so, y'all get to see that episode because it's gonna be a whole production that we gotta like edit down. But if you're around, come check that out, man. We're doing a nice event around it.
So
but
next Wednesday,
Hump Day, man. Yeah, we gotta catch me before.
I think I can be there.
Pull up, baby.
Wednesday, June 1st.
June 1st, 8 p.m.
I think I can make it. I think I can make that.
I think there's gonna be some more Gators in the building too. Bubbling up a little bit. We'll see what's up.
Well, if you need to use my name to attract any more, just let me know. You can put my name on the flyer and all that. But
I got
give you that
man.
permission. Give you that permission.
Are you gonna be wearing the Hong Kong Blazers?
I can definitely bring out the drip. He's coming back in town in a couple weeks. So if you're in Tampa, he's going to be in a bunch of other cities. But if you're in Tampa over the next couple weeks, or if you live here, he'll be here in the next couple weeks. Shoot me a DM and I can send you the link to get scheduled to get your drip fresh. Get some new jackets, some new shirts, get some new suits, tuxedos, jeans, whatever you might need.
What's that going to run
Hong
me?
Kong Andy. What?
What's that going to run me, Dan? Nice two-piece.
A nice two-piece,
with some understated plaid. Nice two-piece.
Probably $650, $700.
Could be
That's
worse.
light. That's light, man. For on
Yeah.
That on three.
That's light on three money.
That's light on three check right there, man. Ain't nothing.
Yeah, that's a rounding error in your bank account, Nick. Jackets probably start at $600, probably go up to $1,000. Suits, range as well. Obviously, it depends on fabric, everything else, customizations, right? Buttonholes, colors, all that. So we can talk more if you want. You can come down to the beautiful city of Tampa, get yourself measured up by Hong Kong.
You got time, bro. You got time. We'll get you a nice suit from Hong Kong.
Need a little Stadium and Gale insert on the inside.
He can do that too.
Woof. Sounds fly. Hey, my birthday coming up, man. I do bubbles and bow ties, man. I'm gonna have to holler at Hong Kong, man. This is the last time you're gonna catch him before like July? Probably, huh?
Let me see. Great content here. He'll be in San Francisco, New York. He's in New York right now, actually. In Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, DC, Atlanta, Dallas, Tampa, Orlando.
He's on tour.
He's on tour, right?
Yeah. Hey, he'll be in Orlando June 4th, 5th, and 6th. He'll be in Jacksonville for just one night on June 7th. I know a lot of people up there could afford to upgrade their wardrobe.
No idea, man.
Fort Lauderdale.
Look at Dan. Dan with the Jacksonville slander.
Yeah. On Fort Lauderdale on June 8th, Miami June 9th. He'll be in Puerto Rico, Newark, Phoenix, Portland, all over the place. He's going on tour, baby.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere but Hong Kong.
Yeah. And then
Hong
he'll
Kong
head back.
Andy's doing more tour dates than Justin Bieber.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Hey, he's got to work hard, man. But great product. If you are interested and live in any of those cities, feel free to upgrade your wardrobe with my boy Hong Kong Andy. But since he's not sponsoring the show, that's enough free advertisements for him. Let's give a shout out to our friend, title sponsor of this show, Alan Horn. Alan is a State Farm agent in Jasper, Georgia, specializing in auto, home, renters, life, business insurance, and retirement planning in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. AlanHornInsurance.com or 706-692-2888. Again, Alan Horn, That's HORNE insurance.com, 706-692-2888. Gentlemen, since our last show, we were kind of caught completely out of the blue. The next day, after we recorded, the legendary and former Stadium and Gale guest Mick Hubert announced that Saturday would be his last appearance with the Florida Gators. He's going to retire, head on down to Sarasota. So certainly we appreciate 33 years of excellence, Mr. Hubert, a guy that I grew up listening to every week during football season growing up. We would turn down the TV announcers and listen to Mick Hubert on the radio. So definitely a guy that was fundamental in my growing up as a Gator fan. But Nick Silk, want to hear your thoughts. Mick Hubert, a legend of sports broadcasting.
Go ahead, Nick. I know that's your man. I seen your pictures, man. Get your shit off, man.
Yeah, Mick's been there 33 years. So as long as I've been watching or listening to Florida sports, that was the voice. Grew up, my parents went to Florida, so we were watching all kinds of Florida sports, and whether it was basketball, baseball, football, Mick was bringing you those moments. And I remember when my dad took me to a couple games, and we're sitting there, and you've got like the transistor radios back in those days, Dan. We're at a game, and my dad hands me this radio and goes, "Here, put this on." I'm like, "What are you talking about? We're at a game. Why would I put the radio on?" He goes, "You're going to hear Mick Hubert. Mick Hubert's going to talk about the game." And I don't know how it was. I can't remember if there was a delay, if there wasn't a delay, but in my mind there wasn't. So yeah, it's a legend, and going out in his own way, just kind of like let it creep up, and just said, "Hey, by the way, only doing 3 more games, and I'm out of here. Going to the beach in Sarasota. See ya." So that's the way to go. No farewell tour. Not looking to get his flowers. Just looking to dig his toes into some sand. Call it a career.
I like it. He do the tour like Hong Kong Andy.
Probably didn't want to compete. With Hong Kong Andy.
It's hard to be 2 goats trying to compete like that, man. I feel sorry for whoever got to like follow up Mick, man. That's a tough seat to follow. So many calls we've heard, like great calls over the years. I wasn't a big radio guy. We didn't grow up in the radio era, but as a young man moving around on a Saturday, if you had to tune in on the radio, whether you're a kid or as an adult, you heard Mick's voice, man. And nobody called things better in my mind. I know every fan base probably says that about their guy, but man, just even if I seen like when we watch games when they end in a big way, like regardless if I seen it on TV or at the physical game, I was gonna go back and hear Mick's call on that motherfucker, like regardless, right? So I just think like whoever got to follow him up, man, they got a big seat to follow, man. A whole legend out here, man. Yeah.
Now, and I would imagine that Scott Strickland and the Gators have known for a little while that this would probably be the end. But certainly it seems like it came quick. Pause, but it seems like his end certainly is something that still hasn't completely resonated and probably won't until football season. Certainly I'd listen to him a little bit in basketball and baseball and watching the highlights, but certainly definitely caught I think everybody by surprise, and certainly wish him the best. I know he said that he's going to head down to Sarasota. Kind of sad reading some of his quotes. I know one of them was that he's had his 15 minutes of fame and that he's going to head down to Sarasota and everybody's going to forget him. But I think we speak on behalf of Gator Nation that I don't think anybody will forget Mick Hubert. Certainly an indelible mark on Gator history. But guys, I am curious to see who does replace him. Certainly Jeff Cardozo's been around. Then you have, Chris Doering, who works with the SEC network. You have James Bates in Gainesville that does some work for the ACC network.
I like Bates.
Yeah.
I like Bates' name. You need somebody that could do like a call, anything call to compete with that. Like, I think all those guys are talented, but Cardozo's good too.
Play by play and color are different. I think Bates would be great as a color guy.
Right.
I don't know,
play by play.
The play by play. He does color for the ACC network. He does games for them.
Right.
But I might be biased, but because Jeff Cardozo is my guy, my buddy down here in town.
I think he's all of our guys. Yeah.
Great voice. I think at least I think they've kind of been grooming him because he's he's got the show on WRUF, does a lot of stuff, does the coaches shows. And he certainly has a great voice for it. It's not going to be easy replacing Mick, that's for sure.
Right.
Definitely one to look out for. I would imagine that if they are going to make an outside hire, that will be announced here soon. But definitely, between James Bates, Doring, some other folks that are around, and who knows, maybe they go after somebody that doesn't have a connection to UF. Mick Hubert, before he came to UF, was in Ohio. Did not have a connection back to UF. And I know some people mentioned, and I don't know the individual's name, but does radio for UCF right now. He's a Florida grad. I know some people have said that he would be a great fill-in, but there is no replacement for Mick Hubert. And
let's get him on the show. The UCF guy that may be the play-by guy. Let's get him on. We need somebody to type up, right?
Yeah. You get the Stadium Gale seal of approval.
Yeah, let's see if he qualifies for the job. We can interview him right here, man.
I'll reach out to him and I'll let you know when he is coming on. In some other news, Nick, talk to us a little bit about baseball. Baseball ended their regular season this weekend. Tell us where we go from here. And there's a couple postseason awards as well.
Yeah, for sure. So Florida ended the season hot. I mean, this is a team, when people are listening, 30 days ago, we're 6-12 in the SEC. Their Friday night starting pitcher was about to get Tommy John surgery. Me and others were writing them off for dead. So to finish 15-15 in conference play, 35-20 overall, was a great accomplishment for them that last month of the season. They lose the last Sunday game to South Carolina, but did finish winning 4 consecutive SEC series to end the year. And they get another date with South Carolina Tuesday it follows game 1. So they play 4 games. So game 1 starts at 10:30 in the morning. And Florida and South Carolina will play after that game. I think it's 45 minutes after the conclusion of game 1. So Tuesday afternoon with the Gators. You can follow that with me on 3. And first game in Hoover is single elimination. So we'll see if Florida can get a win. If not, then they're coming home and looking for where they'll be going in the regional series. If Florida could somehow win this weekend or win the SEC tournament, I think they could host a regional.
Oh, wow.
I don't know that Florida has enough arms to win that. But we'll see. Right now, a lot of the projections have Florida going to Miami for the Coral Gables regional. Florida, of course, was down there in February, won 2 out of 3 from the Canes. So that'd be great for me. Get to go home, spend a week in South Florida, long weekend in South Florida with the family. Maybe get Silk out to a baseball game.
Just put it on his calendar with advance notice.
Maybe get Dan down there. I'm sure John Ruiz will be at the game.
I don't know if it's safe for Dan to pull up in Miami right now. I got to see what my security team is doing. I'm gonna bring Dan down to South Florida for all of us.
Yeah, I just don't know if I see that in the cards, Nick.
Okay.
Now, real quick, what date is that baseball game? I do want to hang out with you at a baseball game, man. I say this every year, and I cannot not attend a baseball game this year. So I'm pulling up. Give me the date.
What would the date be? So they're playing all this week. It would be not this coming weekend, Silk. It would be the following
weekend. I'm there.
Following weekend. So that would be the first weekend of June?
Yeah. I don't have nothing going on.
Nick, I'm not a coward. If they play down in Miami, I'll show face.
Oh man, this is our city, Dan. We safe down here. You from Coral Springs?
They're gonna smell my cologne.
Yeah,
the mean streets of Coral Springs.
You're a legend in them streets, man. Nobody gonna touch you down here, man. You good?
The mean gated streets of Coral Springs, Florida.
Nick's ridiculous. Nick went to one of the most prestigious schools in Broward County, lived in one of the richest zip codes in all of the United States.
The rough and rowdy, down and dirty, gated streets of Coral Springs, Florida. Dan used to get his rollerblades on, and he ran that town. So
Nick lived in a city that was quite literally built on top of the Everglades for rich people because they could. And it's about the mean streets of gated streets of Coral Springs.
Rollerblades, knee protection,
Get
wrist
outta here.
protection,
Get out
helmet,
of here, Nick.
running the
Get
streets
outta
of
here.
Coral Springs.
Ridiculous.
You got
It's
crossing
absolute
guard.
nonsense.
You got crossing guards on the weekend.
They got crossing guards on Sunday. You can't walk home unrighteously from church.
You're ridiculous. Oh man. 3 Gators made all SEC list. You want to run through those?
Yeah. BT Riopel. This is it's been a great story to watch. Comes from Coastal Carolina. They're a D1 school, but obviously a smaller D1. He had just an incredible year and is named first team all SEC catcher. Wyatt Langford, who's someone who I thought should be in the running for all SEC player of the year, makes second team. And this is voted on by the coaches. He was first team for the USA Today network, but I'm focusing in on the one the coaches vote for. They watch a lot more baseball than we do. And freshman pitcher Brandon Neely is on the all freshman team. He really hadn't played much until Hunter Barco went down and they were like, hey, you got to start throwing on the weekends. So shout out to him, really stepped up when Florida needed him to. Like I said, the season really could have gone sideways when Hunter Barco went down. I think Brandon Neely is a big reason why. All 3 of those guys are a big reason why the season didn't go south after Hunter Barco had to have Tommy John surgery. So congratulations to the 3 of them. And I think it's a snub. I think it's a snub for Wyatt Langford to, one, really not be considered for player of the year. I think Dylan Cruz, who was co-player of the year along with Sonny DiChiara from LSU and Auburn, respectively, great seasons, especially Sonny DiChiara. He led the SEC in batting, slugging, OBP, and on-base percentage. He had a hell of a year, and he's kind of like Riopel was a transfer from Little Sanford, Florida, or Sanford, Alabama, excuse me. So 2 guys coming from smaller schools getting it done in the SEC. It doesn't get much better baseball in the SEC. So if you can play here, you can play anywhere. Maybe not Coral Springs, but you can play anywhere.
Relax. So Wyatt, did he hit another home run this year? I saw that he was maybe one of 5 or 6 people to ever hit 20 home runs in a season.
He is the 6th Florida Gator to hit 20 home runs in a season. Judd Fabian followed him up and hit his 20th. He had been stuck on that number for a couple weeks. So when Judd hit his 20th, they became the first Florida Gator teammates to hit 20 home runs in a season. And Judd is also just the 2nd Gator to hit 20 home runs in back-to-back years. Of course, Brad Wilkerson, the great Brad Wilkerson, did that in 1997 and 1998. So Judd was in a big slump too, up until he hit the 3 home runs against USF on a Tuesday, and then was in a 3 for 40 slump or a 3 for 37 slump, with one of those hits being a bunt single. So he kind of came alive last weekend against South Carolina. And Wyatt Langford, ever since being moved into that leadoff role, has just been tearing the cover off the ball. I'm pulling some of these stats up. He hit, I think, over 460. It's interesting because this is a guy who, as a freshman, I think I've mentioned it before, but as a freshman, had 4 at-bats. Had literally just 4 at-bats last year. So Langford, I think, finished the year with 21 home runs, tied for the lead. Finishes the year with 61. 61 runs scored, 2nd most in the SEC, 3rd most in the SEC with 152 total bases, was 3rd in slugging, hits, and 7th in RBIs, 9th in batting average. So an incredible season for him. And I've had a lot of people asking me this, so we can answer it. It will Wyatt Langford will be back next year. He is only a sophomore, not draft eligible.
That's awesome. We will be having, just a spoiler alert, one or both of the Fabians on in the next couple of weeks for Stadium in Gale. Nick, kind of on another subject, same topic. How's recruiting looking for the Gators going into next season for baseball?
So I'll look it up right now for you. But perfect. Baseball recruiting is a little different than football recruiting. Like, these kids commit as sophomores. I think Florida's got a top 5. top 5 class right now. Perfectgame.org. Then the interesting part with baseball recruiting is not necessarily, who's decommitting and what's happening there. The part you have to watch is, well, who makes it to campus and who doesn't.
Because of the draft.
Because of the draft. So, and then I get a lot of people always asking me, well, why are you picking these guys that aren't going to make it? Because I was like, oh, so-and-so was never going to make it to campus. And they're like, well, why would you take that kid? I'm like, well, Brady Singer was never going to make it to campus, and then he made it to campus. Carson Winston was never going to make it to campus, and then he makes it to campus. You have to get commitments from some of the best guys in the country, and if they don't make it, they don't make it. But you've got them on campus, and you figure it out after. But Florida's got a bunch of it's a really big class, a big class of guys coming in. They had a big class last year. So it'll also be interesting to see a guy like Matt Cassetti. Does he come back? A guy like Renee Lashtress, who had to have Tommy John surgery. Does he come back? I think some of the guys I would circle in Florida's recruiting class would be Luke Heyman, who's a catcher from Lake Brantley. Yoel Tejada, he's an outfielder from North Broward Prep. From Davie, plays up there in would you call that Palm Beach, North Broward Prep? Or is that Boca?
No,
that's
definitely
Broward, isn't it? Like Boca? Yeah.
North Broward Prep, I think it's Boca.
Yeah,
North
I think it's
Broward Prep is in Boca.
North Broward Prep is it's definitely not. It's like the name says. It's definitely North Broward. It's way up there.
It's I guess technically in Coconut Creek.
Coconut Creek, that's Broward. Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's right by Boca. It's like a street over. It's like Tri-County all connects, but it's like a street over from Boca to Coconut Creek. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
They've also got a couple guys from outside.
It depends on where you cross over in Boca. If you cross over West Boca, then you're in Coral Springs. You cross over East Boca, you're in Pompano or Coconut Creek.
Right, in Lighthouse Point in that area. Yeah.
Correct.
Florida's got a couple guys from Douglas, right there in Coral Springs.
Coral Springs rival. They're actually in Parkland, Nick. We got to correct your geography once again.
Sorry about that. Chris Arroyo, who's an outfielder, and Jake Clemente, who is a right-handed pitcher. And then it's a little unusual. Florida gets a couple guys from outside of the state. You really don't have to leave the state too often when you're recruiting baseball. If you're in the state of Florida, Xavier Isaac, first baseman from Kemmersville, North Carolina, and Cade Fisher, a tall 6'4" left-handed pitcher from Dalton, Georgia. So big class. We'll see who gets in. There's certainly guys on this list that will be drafted. Most of the guys on this list, if not all of them, will be drafted. And we'll see who makes it to campus. And also, I think Kevin O'Sullivan's opinion on the transfer portal is going to change. He when the transfer portal started and when COVID started, they made the decision not to change. They had a philosophy. We're going to go out and recruit the elite of the elite in high school, and that's how Florida's built their program. When the transfer portal started, a lot of teams went and started dipping into it. Florida didn't. They thought this year that, hey, Renee Lashtress might need a year to get ready for college baseball. So let's go get some help. You really only had Matt Cassetti coming back, and the help you got was a first-team All-SEC catcher in BT Riopel. I think Florida will hope that BT comes back, but I think BT is playing the best baseball season of his life at the highest level of competition, and he's going to get drafted. I think it might be the end of BT Riopel, just a one and done at Florida. So I think Florida will dip back into the transfer portal, and that'd be something to watch as well, which will really be, if they get more than one player in the portal, really the first time that Kevin O'Sullivan and his coaching staff kind of go all in on the portal.
Excellent breakdown, Nick. Thank you so much. Do want to congratulate the softball program. Softball program had a big weekend. They beat Canisius College 10-1 to start off their NCAA regional that was hosted in Gainesville. 10-1 win over them. Turned back the next day, beat Georgia Tech 7-1, and then put an absolute hammering on Wisconsin to win the tournament, scoring 10 runs in the first inning. winning the overall game 11-0, and they will move on to the NCAA Super Regional against Virginia Tech, which will be up in Blacksburg, Virginia. So certainly congratulations to them. A big weekend for them. Each and every win is obviously important. Florida State, which was the number 2 seed in the overall tournament, lost. So, each week, each tournament, each game is super important. So congratulations to them and best of luck in Blacksburg. And other news, I do want to congratulate the men's tennis program that unfortunately did lose to Virginia this past weekend, but do want to congratulate them on another outstanding season. They had 26 victories this season as a team, beat 21 ranked teams. And while it unfortunately comes to an early close, there's certainly a lot to hang their hat on. They do have 2 players that will be moving on to the round of 32 in the NCAA singles tournament. Sam Rafis and Ben Shelton. Rafis is a captain as a senior, and then Ben Shelton, the son of the head coach, is a sophomore. Both of them will be moving on after 2 wins this weekend. In other news, just kind of running down the list here, Nick, I think that you mentioned it, but in case you didn't, Brandon Neely did win SEC Freshman of the Week. Pitcher for the Gators through career high 10 strikeouts against South Carolina. The track and field program is going to continue into their East prelims. They're taking 46 entries up to Bloomington this week in hopes to compete for the NCAA Outdoor Championship. And then before Clifford Taylor joins us, I do want to welcome back Torian Green, who is joining the men's basketball program as Director of Player Development. This was announced a couple of months ago, I believe, but it looks like he is going to arrive back in Gainesville, or he did today. And Todd Golden had some things to say about him. So, Nick, do you want to break down that addition to the men's program?
Yeah, it's funny because he was on, I think, Jeff Goodman's podcast. And I just happened to hear it. It was like April 1st, and he was on the podcast, and he mentioned they were asking about Billy Donovan. And he mentioned, he's like, "Oh yeah, we're actually going to add Torian Green as a Director of Player Development." He's like, "I don't think that's out there." And Gilman was like, "Well, Coach, you're on a pretty big podcast right now, and you just said it, so it's out there now. It's certainly out there now." So I think I wrote this story twice for us. I wrote it then, and then got to write it again. So Torian Green, I think it's just a great. It's interesting. I've said in the past, you're following, you follow a Steve Spurrier, you follow, a Mick Hubert. When you're following someone who was great at what they did, it's hard. I think following Billy Donovan was hard. And he's not having to follow Billy Donovan, but he is certainly not shying away from getting Billy Donovan's advice. And Torian Green was working in the Bulls front office, and it was one of the first conversations that Todd Golden had with him, and asked about Torian Green, and Billy said he would be a great addition to the program. He knows what it takes to win at Florida. He knows what they did, knows what it's like being a student athlete at Florida. So I think it's a great fit, and a good link back to some of the best years you had in Gainesville, Dan, and some of the best years that anybody had in Gainesville. Mm-hmm. That run that the basketball team and football team had. In that three-year stretch. So I like the way Todd Golden's moving early on. There's big recruiting going on. By the time people are listening to this on Tuesday, there'll be another recruit added into the fold. So Todd Golden certainly is making waves and definitely hit the ground running in Gainesville.
No doubt. I like how you're moving into recruiting. I like the hires, everything looking good on paper, man. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at it. I want to see what the games look like. I don't think Mike White was a terrible recruit. I thought he recruited well. On paper, the hire didn't look crazy. Everything looks good, man. And I'm optimistic. I just got to see the games. I see you, Golden. Golden's relating to these boys, man. He did he was talking about the music he liked in the beginning. I wasn't buying it. I'm like, I don't know about
what's he listening to?
He's talking about a whole lot of Lil Baby, everything that's current, man. He was into just future, everything that's popping. it wasn't really buying it, but the kids relating to him to be able to recruit how he's recruiting. He's landing some guys in the portal and doing what he got to do. Just looking good on paper. We'll see what the offense look like. That's our biggest gripe of what this thing look like when it's time to do X's and O's and score some baskets and make this thing look fun.
Little baby don't miss. So if he draws up the X's and O's like a little baby, puts bars out, then Florida's got a good basketball coach.
That's a fact. Little baby does not miss.
Guy's batting 1,000.
Well, gentlemen, we have Clifford Taylor waiting for us. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Visit them, homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code STADIUM at checkout and get 15% off of your order. Great products, great vintage T-shirts, Florida Gators, about 45, 50 other schools there as well. Homefieldapparel.com, promo code STADIUM. And with that, let's bring on social media legend and former Florida Gator walk-on Clifford Taylor.
TikTok star.
TikTok star. Clifford, you've been a guy that we've been chatting with for a while, trying to figure out schedules and everything else to bring you on. Everybody's wanted you on. So welcome to Stadium and Gale, man. Glad to have you.
Cliff, what it do, baby? What up, man?
Hey, you know what though? So I gotta say something. Cause my best friend, he tunes in all the time. He'll know, but he said he watched you on the roll up every single episode. So he wanted.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So shout out my boy Jared. But yeah, like I said, it's been like a long time coming. But hey, we're here.
Yeah, repping LA. You were only out there for a minute, but you got a Super Bowl.
He Hollywood
repping it on the beanie. He's high. He went Hollywood on us.
Yeah, he went Hollywood, man.
My mom told me I should up my game as far as my fashion statements. I'm just trying to switch things up a little bit.
I like it. Mom, what you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Oh man, Clifford, want to definitely hear about everything that you've been doing with social media, and obviously you have a great story with the Rams that went pretty viral. But do you want to talk about your time at Florida? Originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, ends up coming to the University of Florida, walking on. Talk to us a little bit about how that whole story happened. How'd you make it to Gainesville football team, everything else?
Yeah, so I grew up in the era of Gator Slam. The 2 national championships in football and basketball. My dad went to Florida, class 8, so it was in the blood. Grew up a Gator fan. I had aunts, uncles, cousins, friends of cousins. Like everybody in my family was a Gator. Like there's no Seminoles, there's no Hurricanes, there's like nothing. So from like the time I was 5, I wanted to be a Gator. So it was just one of those things where I just kind of grew up with them, and I was fortunate enough to have what we like to call a big ass brain. And so basically, like all the way up to high school, I was like, yeah, this is where I want to go. And so I took an official visit as a junior to the school just to check it out. And I was like, this is where I want to be, because I was honestly trying to get out of Carolina because I was up there my whole life. So I was like, yeah, this is where I want to go. And so applied my senior year, and every day I would just check because they would tell you decisions in February, but I would just kind of like look just to
you never know when it's coming early, right? Just surprise you one day.
You never know. And so actually that's actually what ended up happening on decision day. So they were like, the decisions are going to be out at like 6 p.m. and it was senior day for me, so I was just like, I was on edge like all day. And my boy Jared, he texted me like 5:30. He's like, it's out. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, your decisions are out. And I'm like, all right, do I wait before the game or after the game? Well, honestly, at that point, I was just like, nah, I need to do this now. So I opened it up, had my eye closed. I looked, called my pops. I'm like, Dad, your boy's a Gator. And so that's how that happened. So immediately I was like, okay, now I got to start figuring about the whole walk-on thing, because I'm going here regardless.
Yeah.
If I get an offer to go D3 somewhere, I'm talking full ride.
That's what I want to ask you, because as me, right, a guy that's been in that position, so you pretty much got to figure out how you chase your dreams at that point, right?
Yeah.
Do you chase it maybe JUCO D3 in a different way, get re-recruited, or do you walk on at a place like University of Florida? Nick did that was something similar in baseball. What was that decision like?
Honestly, I spoke with my dad for like about an hour, just talking about it. He's like, is this really what you want to do? Are you willing to like make this sacrifice just to go to Florida? I'm like, Dad, I was like, I feel like I would be cheating myself if I didn't, go through and just go to Florida. Basketball for me is like, it's always been a passion, but it's like Florida's always been a passion as well. And plus I've just been trying to like go down to the Sunshine State for a long time. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what, I'll take the punches that come with it, but I'll just give it a shot. And so that's basically what happened. And so I actually got in contact with Coach May at the time for like a little bit. And then by the time I got there, he left because he got a head coaching job at Atlantic. So I was like, ooh, okay. So now I'm kind of screwed. So honestly, that was my first year, I think, since middle school, where I didn't play, sports that year. I wasn't a student athlete or whatever. So, it was cool. I was meeting a whole lot of people, got involved in different things like intramural basketball and flag football and things like that. BSU, obviously. And then my sophomore year, we were playing, flag football again, but this time we were torching everybody. And it got to a point where it honestly like wasn't fun anymore. And so I was just there was one night I just went freaking crazy. I had like 4 or 5 touchdowns.
I was going to ask, how much of a terror were you? These poor frat boys are playing like, hey, let's get a flag football team together, let's get a basketball team together, and then Clifford Taylor comes on and just dunking on some pledge.
Yeah, so backstory to that. So my very first day as a student, went to Southwest, and I'll never get. So it was Chase Johnson, Michael Carver, like all of them. Like we were in the same year, and so I'll never forget. So they had just finished playing, and so I'm like, oh, that's the basketball team or whatever. So I was just like hooping, and then I don't know, I just went on a little fast break and just with the right, because I'm a lefty, but like with the right, just like went with a little tomahawk. And I was like, oh man, I'm on the team now. Like I instantly thought, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get started with the team or something like that. But it was just one of those things. But yeah, basketball was no contest. And honestly, football was one of those things where it's like, I really didn't want to go hard, but sometimes these little kids would just start talking to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, they be talking.
All right, now I gotta show y'all how I get down. And what's crazy was I didn't have gloves or anything. I don't even think I had cleats. I was running in like one of them.
You went Nick O'Leary?
Yeah. No, I didn't have the gloves. I just played in some like little turf shoes and was calling it. And I was just like just snagging everything. And so kind of going back to that one game, had like 4 or 5 touchdowns. And one of my good friends now, Robert Clay, who was a DB at the time, he asked me, he was like, you ever thought about walking onto the team? And I was like, what, the Gators? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, nah, honestly, no, I've never thought, like, I've never played football before, like, let alone D1, which is crazy. And so basically he was telling me, like, bro, like, it's worth it. This is the best decision I've ever made. And I was like, all right. So at that moment, I kind of let it go through one ear and out the other. That week led up to the LSU game, where B-Stu got the, famous pick 6. And I just kind of started looking around, almost like in a movie. I just started looking around, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. So
girls are going crazy, huh?
Man, I ain't gonna hold you. I cried when he got that pick 6. I was like a little kid, man. I was just like,
no, I'm saying, like, what you looked around, saw the girls going crazy. I mean, I ain't go out there and walk on a little bit.
Oh man, what was so funny was one of my friends.
Have a spot for me.
It was crazy because one of my friends, Izzy, who's on the photo team, she sent me a picture like at the moment of the pick 6, and all you see is like a sea of white people. When you see me with my hands like this, crying, like
I can relate to that, man. I gotta.
So, wow, that's crazy. And so basically from that point on, I was like, okay, I'll give football a shot. What worst thing to happen is I don't make it. So at that point, I was about 200 soaking wet. I was very skinny. And so I got to about 220, 225. Like I was working out like every single day. Like I honestly, I don't think I ever gave myself an off day, like ever during that time. And so fast forward to February, we try out, and it's only like 4 of us.
Hold on. Before you get to the tryout, what's that process like? Like, do you hit up the coach, the head coach? Like, who do you hit up to say, hey, I want to walk on?
VB. I hit up VB, Vernell.
Okay.
So fortunately for me, one of my friends used to work for the team, so he invited me to like a little private athlete party or whatever. And I was already cool with some of the guys. Like I was friends with Grimes because we got cool when he transferred in the spring of our freshman years. I got cool with him. I was cool with KP. I was cool with Jacob Finn, real cool with him. And so that was the first time I actually got introduced to the term NARP, which is like non-athletic regular person. So that was another reason why I wanted to kind of like be in that. I was like, ooh, I don't like that.
You didn't want to be a NARP?
I was like, ooh, I don't really like that.
I never heard of that, but I like that, man. NARP.
Yeah. So these like some of these soccer girls and volleyball, they're like, oh, you're a NARP. I'm like, damn, I don't really mess with that. So
I don't like the way that smells. Get that out of here.
Right. So it was one of those things where it was just like, okay, either you get advice from these guys at this party now, or it's just not gonna work. So lo and behold, I talked to Finn. I was like, yo, man, who's like in charge of like player personnel, compliance, student athlete development, whatever the case was. And he's like, oh yeah, get in touch with VB and John Clark at the time. And I was like, okay. So I hit up VB, and so I was like, hey, I'm looking to try out. And the very first text that he sent me was, let me see some highlights. So I was like, oh my God. So
yeah, you have intramural joints?
So my heart sank when he said that. So I was just like, okay, do I tell this man the truth? And do I like, so I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, sir. I grew up playing basketball. So I sent him the clip, and lo and behold, he was rocking with him. So he was just like, yeah, I'll get you in touch with our personnel people. And like a day or so later, they called me and saying, like, yeah, like we're gonna have a tryout in February. And this was around November, December. And they're like, yeah, we usually have a tryout in February. And I'm like, oh snap, like perfect. And so, that whole time I'm like just kind of like tweaking. I'm just like, damn, it's like I really got in touch with somebody. Like this could actually happen.
That's dope.
And so, fast forward a few months, and I had about like 3 or 4 TV appearances up to that point. I mean, literally the Florida State game, you could see me doing the whole infamous like tomahawk and the slant with the throat. And then at the Peach Bowl, it was literally me, my dad, and some of his buddies from school. And I was literally like doing this in the camera. And I was just like, damn, it's like either they know something that I don't. But yeah, so basically that would happen. And then go to February, I go into the facility and it's only 4 people in there. And I thought it was going to be like at least 40 to 50 deep. And I was like, this is kind of empty. And so I go in there, there's no footballs, it's just straight cones and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? And so some of the guys had just finished working out. So they were like, yeah, it's the dead period. I'm like, what the hell is the dead period? And they're like, basically it's a period where like you can't work out with a football, so no recruitment, all that good stuff. And I was like, okay. So when JC and them and Coach Oz at the time, he told me that it was going to be like straight agility and conditioning. I'm like, oh, that's perfect, because basketball we used to it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a walk in the park. So, man, for like those 40 to 45 minutes, I just kept my head down. I was just going. I was just moving, and then it got to a point where I was actually trying out working out with some of the pads to be a DN, and I'm like, damn, I didn't do none of this. But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And so tryout ends, and literally at the end of it, JC was like, yeah, we'll call you guys and let you know if you make it or not. So I'm like, all right, cool. So literally as I go to my car, he tells me, he's like, look, we would love to have you, but, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a but. And he's like, the schedule kills you. And I'm like, what you mean my schedule kills me? And he's like, time we have spring ball is the time you have class. And I'm like, oh, so what that means is like, does that mean I don't make it? He's like, no, doesn't mean you don't make it. You just got to wait until June. And I'm like, June? I'm like, y'all don't forget me in June. And I'm like, so I'm like, okay. So I was happy but disappointed at the same time. And my mom and dad were trying to console me. And I'm like, y'all don't understand, y'all. Like, I don't think this is happening now. Like, it's time for now. So sure enough, and one of my buddies who actually made it at the time, Mike Weir, who was trying out for DB, turned out to be a running back. So he was sending like Snapchats in the locker room and just be like, God is good, it's great. Just kind of sitting back here, and I'm like, this is not fun. This is not fun for me. And so obviously March goes by, April, and so that's when summer A starts in May. I don't hear nothing. June 15th, nothing. I'll never forget the day, June 21st. Like I literally came back from Southwest, about to go to sleep, and John Clark calls me, and he's like, "Hey, is this Clifford?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you ready? We got some tests and stuff for you to do. And I'm like, oh yeah. So literally went to the facility, it's Freddie Swain in there, Felipe in there, Schuler, like all them just chilling in there. I'm like, damn. I'm like, this is-
Did they, Cliff, just to interrupt you real quick, did they tell you like how to work out or like what to work out, or did they just said,
Nah.
reach out to you in June?
Reach out to you in June. Reach out to you in June. But I just back to my old stuff, just working out again every single day. And so went in the facility, it's like everybody in there. And so I'm just like, damn, I'm really about to be these dudes' teammates. And so basically did all the tests, and then next thing I know, I bump into Coach Savage, and Coach Savage is like, "What's up, big guy?" And he's like, "You ready to train?" And I'm like, "Oh yes, sir." So I had no idea what I was getting into, but from that point on, your boy was a Gator. So
That's what's up.
What was oh, go ahead, Nick.
What was it with that? You talk a little bit about that. Like, all these guys. Is it starstruck? Is it kind of like I arrived? What's going through your head that first time seeing them in the locker room, or maybe even that first practice, first workout session?
So it's crazy. So when I first saw him, I was like, because I knew some of them, I was like, what's up? And then I saw like Felipe and Kyle, and I'm like, damn, like this is really the quarterbacks for the Florida Gators. Like, that's crazy. So in the moment, I was trying to keep my composure, but like on the inside, I was screaming like a little girl at an MJ concert. So I was just like yes. But honestly,
walk over to B Stu, you're like, man, you made me cry in front of everybody last year at the LSU game.
I ain't tell him that. I ain't tell him that. But
how many of them told her, they're like, you're the guy from TV, right?
You want to know crazy? Pitts actually told me about that. Pitts actually brought that up in the first tight end meeting we had. Man, I gotta tell you, that first tight end meeting, like there's times in life where you're just lost, like in school, like the stuff is just not picking up. Man, when I saw all them schemes and all them formations on that little board, man, I thought I was looking at some like cheat codes or something like that. It was just so new to me. And man, I never forget. So we I think it was like the second meeting, and this was the first one that Coach Scott at the time was there. He had said something about Gamble, because Gamble had just twisted his hair or something. And so, the guys are obviously laughing, and I'm trying to like fit in. So I kind of do a little chuckle in the back. And he looks at me and he's like, "The hell are you laughing at, boy?" And I swear, like I got so scared, man. I was just like, all right, let me just shut up, and let me just know my role and shut my mouth. So literally from that point on, I really didn't say a peep after that. I mean, I was cool with some of the guys away from that, but like I really didn't say a word. And so God bless my guy Julian Alonzo, who was our GA. He taught me everything I needed to know about what it took to be a tight end in Florida. I mean, he taught me all the schemes, and like I'm talking about times after practice when he didn't really have to do it, but he did because he understood. Like I was new to this, and so that just goes to show you that Gator ties, they run deep, because I don't know how it is at other programs. Like they would just be like, yeah, we ain't got time to do all this, but like he really took time out of his day to help me. So like I always sing his praises for that, and I'll never have anything ever bad to say about him, Coach Scott, Coach Brew, none of them. And I'll never forget. So the first time I did skills and drills, so we were just doing ones with the DBs and backers. And the first time I went up against I think it was against James. And so first of all, Felipe told me this route. I had no idea what he was talking about. I just looked at Grimes. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he's like, oh, it's just a little fade. And I'm like, okay. So I knew what a fade was. So I was like, man, okay, look. So I ran that fade. That was probably the widest fade you've ever seen. So I ran that fade, went airborne, caught it, and then I saw the ball on my hand, and instantly, I don't know what made me do this. I just like spiked that shit in front of everybody, and they're like, do it again. So I'm like, all right. So went up against Ventrell. It wasn't that spectacular, but I still caught it. And then I went up against Hendo. And I couldn't even get off the ball because he was strapped. I'm like, damn, boy, you strong. And so that was very humbling. And so a lot of those like simple moments. And then I'm sure you guys remember the OG tweets. I honestly cringe looking at it. Like I tweeted some BS talking about some first one in, last one out. I'm like, man, what? Who let me tweet this? because like at the time, like when you're new, you're just on cloud nine. It's just like everything is just so perfect. And I was getting Gator followers, everywhere. So I'm just like, we famous now or something like that. So yeah, and Elam on Kair still gives me flack for it to this day. He's like, first one in, the last one out, right, Big Cliff? And I'm like, yeah, all right. So yeah.
Real quick, give me some Kyle Pitts. So what was Kyle Pitts like? I know personality wise, we see him on the school, on the GIFs, and we also see the athletic freak he is. What's it like being in the same room as Kyle Pitts? What's it? Give me.
He's in a sense, we're honestly kind of similar. And the reason I say that is because like our music preference is kind of similar. We're both like real laid back, quiet people. Like there'll be times he'll come in, playing some, some Marvin Gaye, some Earth, Wind and Fire, or some, some gospel music or something like that. So our music vibes were kind of the same. And honestly, he really ain't talked that much. He really kept to himself. I mean, unless, we were all just like vibing in the locker room. But yeah, for the most part, KP was chill. And so like, it was one of those things where, as I was, starting to, come into my own with the team, being on scout team and things like that, like we got a lot closer, especially my senior year. Like once I got the playbook down, we were able to kind of have those conversations on the sidelines and just kind of like joke around. Like it was cool that in a sense I had to earn that, because in the beginning it's like no one would talk to me, like no one would say a word, and it was just one of those things. It's like, okay, this is one of those things where I gotta earn their trust, earn their respect, earn those conversations. So in a sense, it was really cool. And so, like I said, senior year, we were tight. And so KP, KP's KP, so he keeps to himself.
Right.
It's funny because he actually, we spoke a few months ago because his girlfriend was starting a soul food business, and he asked me to come up with some designs for her. And I'm like,
now who is that? I just found this out, man, like a month ago. Now, who is his girlfriend's dad?
His girlfriend's dad?
Yeah. Do you know it's Peter? You know it's Peter Ward, right?
No way, really?
Yes.
I did not know that. I
got nosy on social media, man. That's all.
Girlfriend needs to turn to wife.
I seen.
You need some of that. You need some great athleticism.
Great
right there.
genetics. They about to have LeBron Jr. man on accident.
Yeah.
I follow Peter Ward, and I seen him post Kyle Pitts. I was like, why would he be posting Kyle Pitts with this young lady? And I did some digging, got in a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh man, this is like Big Three royalty that united here, man.
Damn, P-Dub, that's crazy. Wow.
I'm trying to tell you.
Cliff, I want to ask you. You had you had a really cool story about making it to the NFL, and you were a graphic designer with the Los Angeles Rams. You were obviously there for the Super Bowl. You had a really cool opportunity to design the end zone as well. You have a really cool story about how that happened. So why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, it was one of the things where in the summer when camp was happening, away from camp, and I would just do, freelance designs. I would just do stuff just to, just for fun. Because, graphic designers, we can do freelance in our sleep. And so it was one of those things where I made a few designs, sent them to our main creative team. And it was one of those things where it's just like, here's end zone designs. Do what you want with them. I didn't think that they were going to do anything with them. So it was one of those things that just came and went. And so I made like 4 or 5 ideations. And so game one happens. So I pull up to the stadium, and literally the first thing I noticed is like everyone kept like looking at me and like staring at me. And I'm like, why is everyone staring at me? And so I walked to get a view of the field, and I'm like I dropped my bag, like I was in just shut. I'm like, damn. I was like, they really used it. And so I was tripping to the point where I had to pull out my laptop. I was just like, ain't this?
You're like, is this one mine?
And I was like, damn, but that's crazy. And so I told my mom, dad, honestly, I think I put it on Facebook before anywhere else. Cause I'm like, yo, y'all, like we in LA, we already doing it big. And so that happened. And what's crazy is I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until about halftime of that game. When Van scored first, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just like, hey, Rams probably gonna win this game. So I checked my phone, it's halftime. I'm like, damn, it's like everybody is picking this up. And so it was just one of those things where it's like, I gotta make some sort of like creative, like inspirational video about this. Not for me, but more rather people that keep asking me, like, what's it like working in sports? What's it like working for the Rams or just a professional sports team? And I'm like, let me just do something. So literally grabbed all my stuff together, got all my videos together, and just made magic. And the next thing I know, Bleacher picked it up, Sports Center picked it up, Sunday Night Football picked it up. It was everywhere. So it was honestly cool to see, you know, even Gators football picked it up. So I was like, it was kind of cool to see, like, just sort of away from the football aspect, but the creative aspect of my life just kind of being introduced to the world. So that was a really, really, really cool moment. And then like just the experience overall was just like to win a Super Bowl, go to a Super Bowl. I mean, honestly, I'm at a point in life now where I'm kind of just waiting for the joke to be over, because it's like there's no way all of this has happened, and
I can relate to that, bro.
There's been no like bumpy roads or anything. I mean, well, I guess there were a few, but like still like one that's like detrimental, I guess.
You're like, am I on the Truman Show? Like, I've seen this movie. I've seen this Jim Carrey. Am I Jim Carrey in my own show right now? Like, when am I going to figure that out?
Right.
Go ahead, Nick.
That was a great experience for you. And then how did what you're doing now with the NBA, how did that kind of, I guess, had one opportunity turn to the next, and now you're back home?
Yeah. So I actually spoke with them last year a little bit, but I was still in school, so at the time it just didn't work out. So what we did, we just stayed in contact, stayed in touch, and I took the job with the Rams. Certain things were happening up there, and it was one of those things where it's like, you know, sometimes like little things just like start to pile up. It was one of those things that I just had to like do some soul searching. I was like, mentally, I don't think LA is the best place for me, because, you know, like they say, LA ain't for everybody. And I'll be first to tell you, like, away from work, the experiences were really cool. Like going to a Kings game, NASCAR and all that stuff was really cool. But just from just a creator and just a personality standpoint, LA really just wasn't my thing. So I started really doing some soul searching, really honestly, after the NFC Championship game. And so obviously I let it go. We won the Super Bowl and things like that. Just got told I'm gonna get a ring too a couple of days ago. So that's very exciting.
That's what's up.
Very exciting. But yeah, it was one of those things where I posted, hey, you know, this is my last day at the Rams. Thank you so much for the experience. Pretty much like deuces. Not even like 20 minutes after I posted that, my current boss now, she was like, hey, we see you're a free agent. It's like, you interested in working for us? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm interested in working, because like you gotta understand, like basketball was the sport, my main sport, and the sport that I was actually, you know, good at. So I was like, oh, it's not. This kind of comes full circle. Like, I'm going back to the game that I actually like, you know, loved growing up. You know, granted, I love football too, but like basketball was really it for me as a kid. So it was really just one of those moments where it's just like, man, like take this all in. And they kind of tricked me. So in our interview, they told me, okay, basically, this is what you're gonna be doing. Here's how you're gonna do it, and this is where you publish it out to. Like, we didn't even really have like a common interview. It was one of those things where they just kind of told me what I was gonna be doing.
It was orientation, not an interview.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, you want to talk about, you know, a story, man. Literally 20 minutes before I board to officially move out of LA, I got the call that they offered me the job. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And so it was one of the things where, like, Mom, I'm like, I'm coming home, and I'm coming home with a new job. So my mom and dad, they were all for it, and then went on a little bros trip to South Florida the next day, because me and all my close friends that I used to go on spring break with, you know, we're all graduates, and, you know, we all, you know, make money now. So it was one of those things where it's like, bros trip. We can actually do a bros trip. So, you know, went to Fort Lauderdale, you know, did our little thing, and, you know, things like that. And so yeah, since the day before my birthday, I've been in Jersey and NYC.
I love that, man. That's super cool. Nick, Selk, got any more questions?
Man, I got so much, man. What did your ultimate? I don't want to hold you too long. I know we've been hanging out for a little minute, but what's your dream job, man? I know I'm in creative mode, man. I see your TikTok. You one of them guys that can just create a TikTok and ideas out of the clear blue sky. What's your ultimate dream job?
Man, it's so crazy to say that I'm honestly still figuring it out because
Ain't no rush, bro.
Yeah, I've grown so much love and passion, appreciation for just content creation. Like it's just so fun to make. Every time I wear that 9 or that 4 or that infamous 14 in videos, like you never know what you're gonna get, but you know you're gonna get something, wow, something crazy. So it's just one of those things where, and this kind of goes back to when I started like the Clifford show. I didn't really have a hashtag or like a personal brand. Like when I started, I was just kind of, winging it. But then when I started the Clifford show last summer, then it kind of turned into something crazy. Like the Rams video was the first one to really like take it to that next level. And like now with Instagram, like I don't know why I'm so late to this party, but it's like I've been posting my reels on there and it's been getting reactions from people in Guyana, current athletes in the NFL, college athletes, even high school prospects. And it's like, dang, it's like I really hit a gutter ball not doing this last year. So it's just crazy to see like to most of the time get a positive reaction. So the only real negative reaction I get is like, it's like, bro, you ain't play. You ain't do this. You ain't do that. You got 0 minutes. And honestly, I'm just kind of at a point where it's just like, yeah, that's cool.
Everybody can't play. Everybody's 1%. Everybody can't play, man. And you just gotta be smarter. You gotta be smart enough to find the other skills and talents that God bless you with, man. He blessed you with one with athletic abilities, and you walked on, and then you got the insight. Hey, man, maybe I can do some content around my walk-on platform. But you just gotta be smart enough, man, to use that big brain, like you said earlier in the show, to see your other talents, man.
Yeah, and speaking of the whole walk-on thing, that kind of goes into another thing. So, with the whole show idea, I was actually watching the spring game, and I remember Chris Doering was talking about how Napier wanted like 40 to 50 walk-ons. And so at that point, I was already in talks with the people that made the merch for AR-15, and now I think he just did some stuff for like Kamari and a few other. And I'm like, yo, I want to do something like strictly, for not just like walk-ons in Florida, but like walk-ons like everywhere. Like on TikTok, if you see like some of my captions or some of my comments, I always say like walk-on gang, tap in. And so it was one of those things where we were able to like develop something together. I'll actually send it to you guys after this show. But yeah, so he basically sent me some merch that he's going to develop and merch that he's going to be able to give to some of the players. And it's just a way of not just showing it's a merch line, but a lifestyle. And it's also a way to help. It's also a way to help these guys, beyond the Gator Collective, which is great, but also like market themselves. Like they're walk-ons, but like, yo, like they're college athletes too. Like they need a piece of the pie too, because it ain't no accident that they're walk-on. So I've just always been that way. It's just like, any level I get to, I don't ever want to get to a point where I feel like I can't help people trying to get to that same level. I feel like in sports, it's like too many people, like once they're there, they just don't want to help people. And I've just never been that way. I've always been, on my toes. Mom always tell me to, keep your head down. So that's just how it's always been. And I still, to this day, I still got to meet like the new staff. Like I haven't met a single one. The only one that I've met so far is VB. and I've known VB.
Right. I'll have to get you in touch.
Yeah. I'm blanking on his name, but there's some guy, he's big on YouTube and in the social media space. He calls it the JUCO Bandits. He played junior college baseball, played some minor league baseball, but he capes for all the junior college baseball players, guys like that. And he's gone huge on the social media space. But that's something similar, and it's probably something that, I mean, maybe going through it, and I can ask you, going through it, you think like, man, am I the only one? You feel maybe like ostracized or different, like you get treated differently as a walk-on? I mean, it might be different from school to school.
Yeah, it might be different from school to school. It's funny you say that because, like, I don't know, I get this weird taste in my mouth for some reason that like no one on the Gator staff for some reason like likes me. I don't know what it is. I always get this sort of like weird vibe feeling because like I'm not gonna name drop, but I DM like some of the new people on staff because when I was going to Gainesville for the Auburn game, I was like, hi. I was like, if I can get a chance to meet you guys, like that'd be great. Like I'm not trying to invade or anything. I know y'all got a whole new setup, but it's just like I just want to just meet the team. Like I know, to y'all, I might not be much, but I'm still a Gator at heart, and so literally every single one I spoke to, red, and I was just like, damn. I was like, well, I guess. I don't know. So it's just one of those things where, I really want to meet what's her name, Katie. I've heard nothing but good things about her.
Hey man, that sounds lusty right there, a little bit, Clifford. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
Come on, man.
He sounds like the timeline.
I know you're really trying to get some business done here. I apologize, bro.
Like Katie, Coach Napier, obviously Bree, and I already know some people from creative like Randy, Jordan and Kev, like they all cool people. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like
we got you, man. This is a platform, bro. We got you, bro. They're gonna holler back at you.
Yeah, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna get that done.
If they don't hit you back, man, I'm gonna hit you back, man. We gotta do some content together, man. For sure. We're gonna get you over to the Roll Up Network. We're gonna do something together. It's the program. They're gonna hit you back too, but we definitely gonna do something together.
For sure.
Well, perfect.
And then
go ahead.
I have one more. It might take a while. I just wanted to know. You had some tweets about like mental health, and we're seeing a lot of it, especially this year with softball. Just wanted to ask, because from the outside, and you were on the outside looking in, you're looking at these football players, and man, they've got it made. There's nothing wrong. They're on TV, all this stuff. I just wanted to see if you wanted to talk about just like the mental health aspect of everything that's put on your plate as a college athlete, or even just as a young professional, and how you deal with it, how maybe it's impacted you in some ways that you handle it.
Yeah. So from the football aspect, it really honestly didn't hit me as much because I know the whole school and, being an athlete thing, it's hard. Like it's very hard, but honestly, like that's sort of what I used to do sometimes, like in, meditation. Sometimes I would just like sit and just figure out like, okay, instead of over stressing about handling both, how am I going to handle it? Instead of just like panicking about it, how am I going to handle it? So I would just honestly create like a schedule for myself based on what I had to do for football and what I had to do for class. And I pretty much stuck with that schedule, for 2 years. And, of course, once I had a girlfriend in senior year, obviously it kind of shifted a little bit, but for the most part, I was able to kind of like, stay in that lane. And so it really, I've always had some sort of like deals with like mental health and depression and all that stuff, but man, it really did not hit until I was about to leave for LA. Like, I think like a year and a month ago around this time, like I remember I went out one day with some buddies, and I don't know, I just like had a whole just like mental like meltdown. So I went home, and like I was just like just writing like just how I felt, and I felt in a sense imposter syndrome, because that is a real thing. And at that point, I was just like, am I built to go to LA? Am I meant for all of this, social media stuff? Am I meant to, be out here as a creator and as a voice and things like that? So like you question a lot of those things. And it got to the point where, like, to be honest with you, like there were times where I almost took myself out, and especially like in LA, and kind of going back to some of those things where like little things start to add up. There were times where I just didn't feel like a part of the team. I'll give some examples. I'm not there anymore now, so I'll give some examples. So, for example, when we had like a new space in the Rams building, everyone had credentials, everyone had desks, everyone had monitor, everyone had like the usual stuff,
right?
Except me. And so you go to the NC Championship game, everyone has their normal, their normal spots, in the stadium, except me. They had me in sort of like this almost cubicle type of thing, where first of all, my job is watching the game live And so I had to pretty much watch through hearing the crowd and watching on a TV screen. So like that was one of those moments where I just didn't feel like anything. Like I remember I told my boss after that game, I was like, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I was like, I don't know if I should be happy or pissed off right now. Like I really don't. And so we go down to the field and you see all the confetti. And like I literally just had like I broke down again. Like there was a picture. I don't know. I still don't know who took this picture, but one of my friends sent it to me. There's like a picture of me like just kind of like holding my phone and like I was like in tears. And I was just like calling my mom and my dad. I was like I'm getting out of here. Like there's no way I'm staying here. That was the longest drive home I ever had in my life. And you know, like during that time, it was just so many like emotions. And plus, when you're 2,000 miles away from home, especially for the first time for that long, it's never easy. So the Super Bowl, you know, Super Bowl week was fine. And literally they tell me at before the team parade, you know, everyone had spots like on a team bus. Any guess except who? So it was just one of those things. I'm like, you can't make it up. Like, listen, I know the way I got into the world of sports is very uncommon compared to everyone else who managed to, you know, have a major in sports management and things like that. And so I've always kind of had that chip on my shoulder in that essence. And so like literally that whole parade, everyone's on the bus, you know, they're getting content and doing their stuff too. And I'm just kind of sitting here ground level, just watching the champagne and just pour on me. I'm just like, and so after the parade was over, so I go behind the bus because I was just trying to like, you know, upload some stuff, and I saw people that did not even work for the Rams, people that didn't even work for the Rams taking pictures with the Lombardi Trophy, like it was a prop or something like that. It was just like no big deal, and I'm like, oh snap, like let me get a picture with it. So lo and behold, I go over there, and you know them higher powers. I'm not even gonna name drop because it ain't even worth my breath. But they cover it up with a blanket. And I'm like, yo, it's like everyone else is taking pictures with it. So I'm like, you know, whatever. Maybe I'm tripping. So go in the little studio, do what I need to do. 30 minutes later, people are still taking pictures. And so I go back and I'm like, okay, let me try this one more time. So me and my friend, we walk up, same thing, cover up with a blanket. And so that was one of those things. Yeah, okay. I was like, that did it for me. And then on top of that, like our boss, like we had a whole, I guess, going away thing. Didn't hear a word from her, didn't get an ex interview from her, didn't get a thank you from her. Like every promise that I made to her going in, I kept. I told her, yo, I'm like, we gonna make our IG stories look good. We gonna get TikTok to 1 million followers. Got them to 1 million followers on Super Bowl Sunday. And I every promise that I made, like I kept. And so it's one of those things where I tell people all the time, it's like, listen, you know, I know a lot of people in this sports media world don't like me, and listen, the way I look at it, it's like, you ain't gotta like how I got here, but you're gonna respect how I stay here. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I don't really acknowledge it anymore, especially now when they told me I'm gonna get a ring. So it's like, okay, you know what? Appreciate you. I'm gonna leave now. Left the best to join the best. That's how I look at it.
A word of advice, man. And I feel you on all of that, bro. But just you know, just keep working, dog. Don't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? I know it's very easy to, dog, and it's very hard concept to understand, but don't take it personal. Just keep working, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like if you watch the Kanye documentary, anybody that's trying to earn respect, you know what I'm saying? If you feel slack or you know what I'm saying, or people not giving you your just due, just keep working, bro. Just keep working. Make them be undeniable, dog. Where they just gotta be like, yo, either gotta work with you or give you your credit. You know what I'm saying? But just keep working. Don't take it personal, bro.
Right. Yeah. Still learning.
You talented, bro. You talented. Don't take nothing personal. Trust me, bro. You hella talented, and you don't have to be waiting on anybody to give you like, you know, any, you know, well, I'm trying to find a word for it, but you don't need anybody to approve of what you're trying to do, bro. You talented, you know what I'm saying? You have arrived, you accomplished some things, bro. You didn't set out to do any of this, man. So just stay on that journey, bro. You cooking.
You've already been undeniable. I mean,
Right.
wanted to get into Florida. You were smart enough.
Right.
Only Dan's the only one smart enough out of the three of us to get into Florida.
Right.
Walked on the football team. Out in LA, just a kid from North Carolina out in LA. Now you're in New York, New Jersey, working for the NBA. Like, you've already been undeniable. So you just gotta keep that, because it's easy to kind of get off track and let little things kind of build up.
Keep that chip on your shoulder, dog. That walk on chip, keep that chip on your shoulder, but don't take it personal, bro. Just keep grinding. Yeah, for sure.
It's great advice, boys. Clifford, we'll let you run, my friend. Dude, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. Great interview, great insight, great story, and we're going to be rooting for you. Obviously, you're all over social media, so let everybody know where they can follow you.
Yeah, they can follow me on, we'll keep it real, on Twitter at Cliff Taylor IV, IG at Clifford Taylor IV, and TikTok just Clifford, my first name, no underscore, no nothing, just my first name. Go. It's really cool. So.
You got in on the ground floor of TikTok. We need to get your social branding even on all these spaces. We need to put Clifford on all of them.
Yeah, you know what? So one of my coworkers at the ranch, she used to work for Twitter, so I spoke to her about that, and she was like, "Yeah, apparently the dude that had Clifford on Twitter before was bad news.
Terror. He was terror.
Yeah. So I was like, damn. I was like, well, at least you tried, so I appreciate you.
Yeah.
If I ever retire Uncle Silk, they're not gonna let nobody else get it, man.
The guy that has it on IG, I'm convinced is a bot, because everything he posts is like pictures of either his house, nature, or a bunch of butterflies.
Yeah.
So,
he fake.
So I'm sure if I DM him, he's gonna be like, all right, you can get it for like about $500,000. I'm like, never mind, I don't need it.
It's all right. That's okay.
Keep it for that. Clifford, man, it was a pleasure having you on, brother. We'll definitely do this again soon, and then please do stay in touch. I think there's some opportunities I know to work with Silk and the Roll Up Network and us at Stadium and Gale as well.
Thanks so much. I got to show the Gator ties.
Yeah,
there it is.
I love it, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Clifford Taylor, man, great interview, good insight. Wish him the best. Cool story.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Let's give a quick shout out to another sponsor of Stadium and Gale. The Gators grabbed a basketball commitment while Clifford was talking, but let's give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM at checkout for 10% off of your order. Best vacuum sealed drinkware in the game. Again, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Promo code STADIUM at checkout for 10% off of your order. While Clifford was talking on Instagram Live, the Gators grabbed Riley Kugel from Dr. Phillips in Orlando, the number 48 overall prospect in the class of 2022. 6'4", 185 pounds, had previously been committed to Mississippi State. Ben Howland was left, and he opened his commitment, was down to Florida, Georgia, and LSU. Ultimately, Todd Golden shoved Mike White in the locker, grabs the number 48 commitment, and that rounds out certainly a great 4-star get for him, rounding that out with a top 5 transfer class. So good first couple of months for Todd Golden in Gainesville.
Todd got busy. Todd got real busy real fast.
Our national recruiting analyst for basketball, Jamie Shaw, was really impressed. Saw him at the Monteverdi Caddy Invitational. Says long arms, physically developed frame, comfortable on the ball, great vision, explosion, can get to the rim anytime he touches the paint, competitive, good in the passing lane. He's a 3-level scorer. So it's like we said earlier, still Todd Golden's cooking. He's getting the recipes. He's in the kitchen. The burner's on. Just got to see what the meal tastes like.
That's all you ask for him right now.
The ball gets tipped.
Yeah, right now that's all you ask for him. We'll see what happens when the balls get tipped. But right now,
he's getting
ball get tipped.
He's getting his mise en place on, getting dinner ready.
For sure.
I do want to touch on a separate topic, but somewhat related. And Nick got himself involved in a timeline discussion to my good buddy Paul T. Black, and ultimately about the timeline, about Billy Napier and recruiting, and about the pace in which it seems like the fan base is expecting results in recruiting, at least vocalizing their thoughts. Nick, if you want to give kind of a summation of that conversation and, your thoughts, do you feel like the fan base is being a little quick to judge the results in the recruiting world in football?
Yeah, I think the summation is, I'm already seeing him called, 3-star Billy, Sunbelt Bill, my favorite, Bill from Lafayette. I like that one.
That's all right.
I've not heard that one, but that's all right.
That sounds like a Paul Feinbaum collar. Oh, we'll go next to Bill from Lafayette. But I think it's, and this is my third new head coach, my fourth coach overall since I've been covering the team, third new head coach. There's always a honeymoon period. And it's like, whatever the coach does, whatever the coach says, even if someone in the media is like, this is bad. Mark Long, I think, is still hated for calling Jim McElwain a used car salesman. He called him like a used car salesman, like first weekend that he showed.
I don't think anybody hates Mark Long because of that anymore. I think they found 30 or 40 other reasons since then.
Okay. But there's usually a honeymoon period with these new head coaches, and I was interested because obviously I'm tied into social media because of my job. I'm on Twitter all day. I'm on the message boards all day, and I can just see that fans are already starting to turn, and maybe that's the vocal minority, but I just see fans like exasperated, upset, angry at the lack of recruiting or the perceived lack of recruiting, lack of landing people.
Well, landing who? Who we miss on?
I don't think you're going to come and say, like, listen, we're in the conversation for these guys. We're not in the conversation. They want results. I think people are mad that there aren't results yet.
But is there a lack of results? I guess is my bigger question. I think, and I'm curious to hear Silk's thoughts as well, but I don't see the players that they're after committing elsewhere. Right. I don't see Florida having to move down to their third, fourth, fifth, sixth option. Right. I think all of the guys, for the most part, and I'm sure I'm missing a few, most of the guys that Florida's after are still completely open.
Even if you look at the quarterback board, and I'm not here to be apologist for none of these guys. I'm waiting, and I've been on record. I'm waiting on these decision dates of these top players along the I-4. They're in our wheelhouse of what we want top elite kids to be, and that's them decision dates I'm waiting on. And I judge the staff at that point. But even you look at the quarterback board, we could bicker about it, but no new offers are going out. New names are popping. Rashada, the names that are popping back up are bigger names. So I don't know. People are just bored, bro. I don't know a real reason to judge the staff. I'm not even trying to joke. I'm dead serious because
I get it.
Until these elite kids, we got blue chippers. It's a historically great year across the board in Florida. So I don't know why anybody has the need to jump the gun. Just sit here and vibe. I do think the effort's there. If you want to look at, if there's a lack of effort, we seen Dan Mullen water skiing during the summer, and I got that poolside looking inebriated. You see
living his best life,
right? And I got the concern. Where's the results? But first summer of these guys, you see the activity, you see the visits, you see the blue chippers coming on campus a lot. And I know we want to see these guys pop. We did have LeBlanc pushes commitment date back. He's been on campus a million times, but until these guys decide, I do like where we're trending. Do you want to press these guys to maybe commit before? But if a guy got a decision date in July or June, what are you gonna do? Hold the pistols to his head before a month and say, "Hey, you're on our campus now. Commit." Just vibe. We'll see what these guys can do when these dates pull up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the meantime, in the world of recruiting, Florida did get a couple of predictions for some big names on the On3 prediction index. Cedric Baxter, the 4-star running back, has been predicted to UF, and then John Walker, the defensive lineman from Osceola, has been trending towards UF as well. Certainly Trayon Webb, a guy that Florida was likely leading for as well. a number of players that have pushed Florida into their top 5, top 3, top 2, top 7, top whatever number. Florida sits in a really good position, I think, for a lot of big names. And, you don't see, I think, compared to last year, the year before, maybe even the, 4 or 5 years before now, you saw a lot of prospects commit early. I feel like it's completely changed where a lot of your top guys have stayed uncommitted for a longer time. I think COVID has a little bit to do with it. I think coaching changes have things to do with it, but I think that this year's recruiting cycle is quite a bit different than what we've historically seen over the last, 4 or 5 years in terms of when players are committing. So I just thought it was an interesting debate. I do think like people are giving Billy Napier and the staff a much harder yank on the chain of, hey, where are we at with things? But
I don't think there's a reason. I don't think there's a reason to hype. I don't think there's a reason to give excuses for. I think you just wait and see. I think that's the mode we all should be in. Just wait and see and vibe. I don't think nobody has to jump to a conclusion. I don't think nobody has to cape for Billy. I think everybody can just vibe and wait for these big decision dates and see what happens, man. Also, this is just it's a new climate of what recruiting is. We all want a blue chip quarterback, but we also see guys like Rashada like bidding and like negotiating and doing some other type of things, man. So y'all better get realistic, man. And that's everybody in the state of Florida as far as recruiting. I don't see the numbers of NIL offers and the big moves that Texas A&M and those programs are making to think we're gonna land a top 5 class. I'm just being realistic with myself as a fan. I love this logo. I think we got a guy that can recruit. He's from a bloodline or coaching tree that breeds recruiters. That's where he's from. He can do that type of stuff. But bro, this is a business. Now I don't see the efforts. The top 5 recruiting class are making big NIL efforts as far as getting those type of guys in, man. So everybody's got to be patient and see what how NIL work out, how Billy work out, and these decision dates. Just vibe. No need to rush yet. We'll let you know. We the vibe we the pulse of the timeline and the emotions of Gale. We'll let y'all know when to panic. But right now, I don't see no need to. Katie and the crew they cooking up a little bit. We're good.
You keep mentioning Rashida. I think that's just a hat on the table there. I could be wrong. I think.
See what I'm saying?
Why?
You think West Coast?
I just think Florida's a hat on the table.
Why would you think that? I just want to educate the fans. It's not me personally. So like, there's articles that's coming out. His dad saying that he foresees Florida being in his top 2 towards the end. He got 2 visits set up before his decision date here this summer. So with two visit dates set up before his decision date this summer, and his dad saying that Florida will be in his top 2. I think he reported at the 247. Why would you think they would just say hat on the table? Just to educate.
I just think right now Florida's a hat on the table. If you come down, a visit can change things for sure. I just think right now that I would not be penciling him into Florida's class, and I think the biggest concern for me with recruiting is that quarterback spot. And hey, listen, friend of the show, Andy Staples, put it out there. I think like 2 weeks ago, he thinks Arch Manning comes to Florida. That's
you gotta listen to the whole take though. I don't think he was just saying come to Florida. There's a lot of scenarios and a lot of twists and turns that gotta happen for his Arch Manning to Florida situation to happen.
But back to Rashida, I just don't think that Florida is that in it. Obviously, listen, you're in the top 7, so you're better than 200 something other schools, but I don't think that they're in contention. And we can clip this, and if I'm wrong, if he's a Gator, we can clip it and we'll put it out.
You've been more wrong about worse things before. So, no problem calling you out, Nick. Timeline has no problem calling you out either.
Go have at it.
Anything else about recruiting? Obviously, a lot of new things. A lot of new names, a lot of visits happening over the next couple of weeks as well. But any final thoughts on recruiting before we get to the end of the show?
No, that's it, man. That's what I'm at with. I'm just vibing away. I do like I said, the traction. Some of it seems corny, all the tweeting and all that stuff, but this is for 16 17-year-old kids, not for grown men, man. So I do like the activity. I like how busy they are. And we'll see the results this summer, bro.
Yeah, it's that's just kind of like where the culture is though right now. And it's like that stuff looks corny and it's easy to poke fun at if you're not getting, immediate results. I think that's kind of what you're seeing, on the timeline. The why not Florida? What was the one yesterday? What was the one Sunday? It was like
they had one today, I think.
I missed Mondays. Sundays was like you should stay home in Florida, something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was about Hakeem Williams, right? It was thinking you should stay in Florida. I believe Hakeem Williams tweeted thinking I should stay in Florida, pondering face emojis. And then, I don't know, 15 or so staff members tweeted thinking you should stay in Florida.
I'm not mad at any of that goofy stuff, bro. I don't know who the people are that mad at that. I got decision dates, and then if we scrack out on decision dates, then I'm mad at it, right?
Okay.
But
I'm with that.
Right?
Tweets aren't for
it's
you,
like
Nick.
the tweets aren't for you. Like, listen, the swamp green jerseys weren't for you. The kids liked them, so that's what matters. Dan with a visceral reaction to even the mention of the swamp green jerseys. They like the cleats. They like the cleats because I remember they let them wear like whatever cleats they wanted, and the kids wore those. I think they were like all black cleats, or maybe they were green cleats. They wore them after. They like those low air vapors.
All right, let's get into the last part. Last thing we forgot to mention at the beginning of the show. The Gators do grab a transfer from Arizona State, wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. Announced that he was going to commit to the Gators on Saturday. He had 48 receptions for 580 yards and 4 touchdowns. Led Arizona State in all 3 categories. Coming to Florida as a slot wide receiver. Good get, in my opinion. The Gators desperately needed a slot guy. They lost Jacob Copeland last year to Maryland. Have a lot of unproven players. Not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that they won't be great, but certainly have a lot of unproven players in that wide receiver quarter. So to be able to go out and grab a guy that's been productive, in the Pac-12, come over to Florida is a good get. Chose between Florida and Oregon, and will be enrolling in Gainesville shortly.
I think that would have been a bad one. Like if you lose out to Oregon, because I think he was on record saying like, I want to go and I want to compete against like the best. And I'm like, dog, Oregon, like the last time Oregon and Arizona State played, I think Arizona State beat them. And Arizona State's like not a good program right now. So to lose out to that, I would have started questioning. But like you said, Dan, slot receiver, I think you slide right in and as a starter. So to me, great get for Billy Napier and for the program. And I think he, if I'm not getting it wrong, I think he has 2 years to play as well.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. Silk, your thoughts? I know you had some thoughts earlier.
Yeah, the more I looked at his film, the more I liked it. We just need some guys with some wiggle. He has decent speed at 4.5. Slide is a huge need. Watching over the spring game, I do like what Reynolds showed us. But to get a veteran guy in that led that program over at Arizona State to come in and give us some veteran help is good. We still need some speed to take us over, take some things off the top, but I don't think that help is coming this offseason.
Yeah. Are you guys surprised quickly on the lack of portal activity, not just at Florida, but just in general? I think a lot of people expected a pretty mass exodus in the first couple of years of the transfer portal. There was. This year, there seems to be a lot less names. What do you think that is owed to?
It's almost seemed like the coaches knew that the new rules was coming out with the 85 and all of that, and they kind of told guys to kind of sit put and that rules are going to change. That's what it feels like because there was no rush to the portal. People weren't looking for a whole lot of opportunities, and it didn't look like the coaches were pushing kids out either. So that's my overall take for it. That like the players kind of knew that this was on the horizon, and they all just kind of being a little bit more patient with their options. Instead of jumping out there in the streets and getting into that portal. It's a dark hole right now.
It's a dark. I was surprised. I was surprised just because I've got Florida at like 89 or 80, 91. How many do I have them at? I got to pull up my thing.
At
Florida's
one point, you
over-
had him at 91. I guess
Yeah,
it'd be at 92 now.
Florida's, with Ricky, it would be 92. And they're accepting preferred walk-on kids right now. So, I mean, that's good. That's not going to affect anything. But I thought we'd get some kind of exodus with guys leaving and someone like – so with the May 1st deadline, I thought it was all going to happen before that. Now you're looking at it and a guy, let's say I don't even want to name a name, but let's say a guy transfers now who isn't a graduate, they would have to get some kind of special waiver to be available in the fall. Someone who is a graduate, like a Jordan Pouncey, who I think is set to graduate, you aren't beholden to that May 1st deadline. You can go and if you're a graduate and be a graduate transfer and be available right away. So maybe some of those guys. There was also it took me a little bit of research, and then shout out to my guy Ryan Young, who found it because it happened in L.A. with Lincoln Riley. There's a NCAA bylaw number. Stay with me here. Bylaw 15.5.1.7, which essentially very familiar. Which essentially lets a first-year coach cut a player as long as the school honors the scholarship, still pays for classes, food, dorm, things like that. That player will no longer count against you, and you're 85. They used that, I think it was with more than 10 guys. USC does. They were trying to reshape their roster. Used that with more than 10 guys, and I think 6 of them elected to not play football anymore and finish out their academic careers at USC. I don't know. I don't have any inside information that Florida's planning to use that, but I was looking at, well, how do you get down to 85 before the first week of August? There might be some tough conversations that have to be had, and that's just kind of the nature of business right now in the NCAA. But that would be an avenue, with Billy Napier being in his first year, an avenue that they could pursue. And that's a tough conversation to have, but listen, at the end of the day, that's going to allow you to continue going to school for free and have the opportunity to earn a degree from the University of Florida.
Definitely be something interesting to watch as we continue to watch how it unfolds. I know if you look at the last couple of years, there's certainly a hell of a lot more players that entered the transfer portal than got out of the transfer portal onto teams. Maybe there's a little bit more cautiousness about the way that these players are attacking it. Maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And as my mom says, sometimes you just have to fertilize your own lawn and make it as green as it possibly can, because it's not always greener. It's not always healthier. So last piece of news, this was a name that we were also kind of monitoring, but Jermaine Lowell, who's also from Arizona State, defensive tackle, that was supposed to visit UF this weekend, did announce that he's going to be transferring to Louisville. The word on the street through a number of sources is that he just simply didn't have the grades to go and attend the University of Florida. So I certainly wish the young man the best of luck, whatever the circumstances may be, and best of luck at Louisville. Manscaped ad read, and then
Real quick,
take us out.
This is the part where it gets weird, because everybody thinks like it's all the same, or we have this conversation so like every single season where qualifying for NCAA is just qualifying and clearinghouse is just clearinghouse. Clearly, it's not, man. When it's time to get in UF, there's certain credits and certain things you need to get in. We always run into these stumbling blocks, whether it's transfer, JUCO, and sometimes high school. It's easier to get in Louisville. Now I think that was a big loss. We need help in the trenches. Defensive tackle is a big hole. Just like I wanted a speedy wide receiver, we need quality defensive linemen to come in and give us some help this fall. So just another letdown in the portal, and it just wasn't a whole lot of bodies to choose from, to be honest.
Yeah, Florida definitely has some holes at defensive tackle. There's some question marks at tight end. There's probably another few positions that Florida could probably use some additional depth at. But Florida is going to be in a position where they have to cut right now until they make those cuts. There's not probably a lot left. Obviously, if they were going after Lowell, they were going after a few others over the course of the last couple of weeks and months. There's obviously going to be some potential spots opening, but I think we all on the show expected probably 8 to 10 people to leave, and those did not leave yet. So certainly there's time, but still surprised to see where Florida sits right now on their total roster size right now. Silk, you want to take us to a Manscaped ad read? Then I'll pick the song of the week and we'll get on out of here.
Absolutely. Shout out to the great folks at manscaped.com. Be sure to use coupon code SG20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. It's hot, man. Memorial Day weekend is on the horizon. Summer is here. And if you're not appropriately putting ball deodorant on, your balls are sticking to your legs. And that's egregious, Grow up, get some ball deodorant, get the lawnmower 4.0, save the family jewels, get it right. Coupon code 20SG for 20% off at checkout. Take care of the family jewels.
Living unrighteous.
Body spray, underwear, deodorant. Also,
I haven't got my underwear yet, Dan.
It's coming soon, Nick.
Self-care package, man. Gotta take care of yourself.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
I need them to throw the ball deodorant in there with it.
Well, you can also buy it by using promo code 20SG at checkout and spend the $8 that I believe it costs.
At this point, just use the axe, man. You degree. You gotta do something, bro. It's hot out here, bro. It's a sticky situation if you're going out here like that, unrighteous like that. It's crazy.
Nick, if you can't afford the Manscaped, and just do something.
Soak's like, I don't think Nick's girlfine is actually doing it clinical. I think she's had to get out of that musty ass house.
You never know when Lauren's going to visit you again. And the last thing you need is mustiness.
That's true.
That's all I know.
1 + 1. We're figuring this out now.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to play Zach Bryan today. Zach Bryan came out. I just going to give you a little backstory because I think it's pretty cool. Came out when he was in came out with a couple songs when he was in the military, put them on YouTube, put them on a number of different places to be able to listen to, but he was still active duty military. So I never really got the chance to tour or anything else. But after he was honorably discharged from the military, he put out an album that a lot of people are waiting for, a 34 song project. And 34 songs. Yep. Became the most
work to listen to that, man.
A couple hours worth of music. It's funny. I was when it came out on Spotify the other day, I looked at it and I was just going to drag them into a folder to listen to later. And I just kept scrolling. So I'm like, how many songs are, sometimes they'll put like, a live version or whatever, but 34 unique songs on there. And shout out to him because it just became the most streamed country album in a single day this year. Zach Bryan, can't go wrong with any song on there, but we'll go with Something in the Orange, which is a great song. So, boys, great seeing you again, and we'll see you next week. Same corner, same time.
Same corner, same time, my guy.
Shout out to Cliff. Great interview. Same corner, same time.
All right.